Yo, what's good, guys? Today we're ranking every single melee weapon in the finals because, let's be real, the massive Season 11 Melee Rework has completely flipped how each melee weapon works now. Now, with some of these weapons, the changes made the melee weapon absolutely crazy and actually a lot better, and some got a little bit left in the dust and basically just requires a different playstyle just to survive. Now, let's break down how every single melee weapon stacks up after the update. Right, starting off, we're going to look at the spear. Now, in my opinion, I feel like this is a bit better than what people give it credit for. Now, obviously, I'll address some of the trash rumors because a lot of people are shouting that the spear got completely ruined by the rework. Now, granted, it did lose an old piece of tech that it used to have, like backpedal striking, because now the new system, majority of the times, if you're on target, it's going to force you to lunge, so you can't really back out of fights once you're in it. But if you can adapt your playstyle, it's far from useless, in my opinion, because the weapon actually feels a bit more fluid and responsive now. The rework removed the slow first animation, you know, with the old free hit combo, so now it basically lets you get into the fight a bit easier. Now, great playstyle is triggering the big 360 spin once to zone people out and then immediately use that momentum to reposition back into cover or use a light attack so you don't end up being overexposed for too long. Now, the light attack did get buffed a bit. Now it hits 74 damage on a precise hit, so that's right down the middle. Now, the lunge and spin mechanic got reined in from 7.5 meters down to 5 meters to obviously fit the stamina system better. So where this weapon truly shines is when you pair it up with the winch claw, barricade, and a healing emitter, or you could go for a healing beam medium teammate if you can find any of them. So with all that being said, I feel like if you can adapt to the new system, the new rework, and you just keep practicing, in my opinion, I think this is a nice B tier. It's not absolute meta, but I don't think it's as trash as people might say it is. It weren't the best melee weapon regardless. Like, most people would turn the nose at the spear compared to any other weapon. But I feel like it does have a little bit more room to actually compete a bit. Alright, next on the list is the Riot Shield. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of the Riot Shield. One of my friends is literally level 15 on it. So I've asked him what he said about it. And this is what he thinks about the rework. He pretty much said nothing good was added or changed about the Riot Shield this season beside the shield bash and the melee block, which really ain't that crazy. Not only that they introduced the precise system for the melee, which constantly makes dealing damage harder, they also nerfed the damage of the Riot Shield itself. And additionally, he said the lunge feels extremely finicky and ineffective to use half the time. Great choice of words. All in all, they took the Riot Shield and made it just a pure defensive weapon instead of an offensive one, which generally made it a much worse weapon now. Now, obviously, I can understand this guy's been repping Riot Shield for a long time. They have made it more defensive, which, I mean, that is the Riot Shield, isn't it? But what I've noticed, though, as well, he's not the only person, and also I've not seen the Riot Shield pretty much at all, to be honest with you. I might say it once or twice every gaming session, but like he said, it's just not an offensive powerhouse anymore, and I feel like they probably could have kept the raw damage a little bit higher, but hey, do you know what I mean? I'm not a Riot Shield nerd, so I don't know. I'm only joking. I will say the block, though, the block is pretty decent. I feel like you got to lean into the lunge with the block a little bit more to just try and do that damage and basically close the distance that way. Can't really just run at someone and hope you're going to hit them because obviously, like he said, it's very finicky. Now, for a tip, even though the damage did get lower, closing the distance is everything. So I'd recommend if you're going to use the Riot Shield, pair it up with the dematerializer. That's what I would recommend because you can at least phase through a wall right into an enemy's face, catching them completely off guard, and also maybe proc sensors so you get more intel on the enemies before you take that lunge. Get it? Alright, that was corny. So for the Riot Shield, I've got to give it a C tier. It's definitely not up there like B, A, or S tier, definitely, but I don't think it's the bottom of the barrel. It's too early to really truly say the Riot Shield is absolute chop. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, when I play it, though, I'm chopped. Right, next we've got the dual blades. Now, there's a little bit of back and forth between players because a lot of players have complaining that the patch completely made it too slow, especially while you're like blocking, like deflecting bullets. And honestly, if you try and hold up your blades and walk straight into a squad, you're going to get wiped anyway. So while I was using the dual blades, I figured out like probably the better way to play it since the rework. And the secret is you've got to use the surprise counter-attack when you're blocking. Because if someone's trying to beam you with a full mag, you block, deflect the bullets right back at them. Then you can just punish them with that special shot. That's what I noticed a lot of the times when I was using it. That's probably one of the biggest things you can do right now with the rework. And it just kind of works like the mesh shield that a lot of people do, deflect the bullets. As soon as they've got to reload, that's when you'll attack. Because the new cross slash has made it really effective in certain situations. You're able to literally lunge 5 meters straight into someone and do about 140 damage on a direct hit. And it will push the enemy back a lot of the times. And I did catch a lot of people off guard with this attack. And with some of the melee weapons getting base damage increases, this one went up to 114. So if you land it flush, you're going to do some pretty big damage. But obviously, we all know that sword, it's hard to close the distance a lot of the time. So I would highly recommend using a dematerializer. Now, when I was using it, I was having a lot of success with it, and once I started learning out that the block slash attack is very effective, I feel like it's A tier for me. Now, a lot of people would say B or C tier, but I feel like you get a good enough with it, you learn how to close that distance, you get good with your game sense. I feel like it could definitely be up there as an A tier, because with that block mechanic on top of the actual slash attack, I think it can be quite strong in the right hands. But let me know down in the comments what you think about it. I know a lot of people would say B or C, but because with the tier system, I go off how much success I had with the weapon and what I figured out with it and what was strong and what it might be lacking in. And the dual blades has some things it's lacking in, but I do feel like it's a nice A tier, especially in damage. Next, let's talk about the dagger for the light. We all know the dagger is easily the hardest melee weapon to use, especially in chaotic fights. Shamefully, you can't just run in swinging. You basically have to stalk people and wait for that right moment for that backstab. But if you're on controller, it's even tougher to do than backstabs, especially when you've got to go forward and dash and flick back really quick. It's just not as viable. Definitely more of a PC weapon, I would say. Now let's talk about some of the buffs, because they actually made landing stabs a lot more forgiving, because the charge up is now 0.65 seconds rather than 0.8 seconds, so you can lunge even quicker, and obviously it got boosted up to 4.5 meters. Now when I was playing it, there was sometimes I was having some okay success in it, but one thing I did learn about the dagger player, and let me know any dagger mains in the comments if I'm correct in this, you can't force fights. Sometimes you gotta just play objective. You gotta really think about when to attack and when to just basically just avoid enemies or wait for the right moment where the back's turned. So what I would say with the dagger for my verdict, in terms of how I played it and how well I did, I would say B tier, simply because that backstab and the potential I feel like I could have with it. But at the end of the day, it is high risk, high reward weapon, so that being said, I feel like people that have mastered this down to a T, it would be up to like A to S tier. But overall, the unforgiving nature, to me, just keeps it in B tier. But at the end of the day, guys, it is my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Next, let's talk about the sword for the light class. Now, this got a massive glow up from what a lot of people are saying, because the extra burst damage paired with the new lunge range means you can completely run lobbies if you want to play aggressive. But obviously the issue with that is there's still a skill gap with the weapon. You still need to be really good at tracking, because you've got to center your target to get that full damage. But if you pair it with evasion dash, you can pull off some insane lightning fast plays. Now let's talk about the buff a little bit. Your standard swing deals 110 precise damage, but the charged secondary attack is the real star with it, because with full stamina, it launches you forward a massive 10 meters. Plus, they did relax the camera restrictions, so you can actually curve your dash mid-air to track people more. Now, when I was playing this, obviously I'm not a melee guy, so I was still selling quite a bit, but I was doing some insane plays, and I got a little bit of the hang of it. So my verdict for the sword got to be A tier, with the massive 10-meter lunge, the extra damage, and also the camera restrictions being less restrictive now, so you can actually move when you dash forward a lot more, which a lot of sword players, that was their like gripe about it from the previous updates and stuff. I would say it's one of the funnest weapons to use also. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Right now, last on the list is the Sledgehammer. Now, when you first pick this up, it can feel a little bit clunky, a little bit awkward, but out of all the melee weapons, in my opinion, I feel like this is the easiest to get, like, good with, and also the easiest to pick up for first-time melee users, because once you get that rhythm down, it's an absolute powerhouse. But the main thing is knowing when to use that left swing and that big overhead slam. Once you get them down coordinated, bro, you're going to be deleting a lot of people. Now, let's talk about the lunge. Now, the lunge gave it 5 meters on both attacks. As long as the stamina bar is full, that snap feels super strong. Now let's talk about the precision hits, because the swing zone on this weapon is massive, so landing them new high damage precision hits is actually quite easy. Your light attack cracks a 120 damage, and that heavy overhead slam for a massive 200. Now some of the good combos to pair it with is the charging slam, because that'll totally fix your mobility issues, also add on to extra damage. But if you want to be real mean though, run the Winch claw. Pull someone in, instantly dropping a 200 damage overhead swing is like automatic delete button, especially on it light. Now, throughout the whole time I was using it, I was getting flowy with it, and like I said, with the lunge, it just felt so much more like snappy than the other melee weapons. And I've heard a lot of people saying it is the best melee weapon right now, and the rework has made this one the best of the best. And I also agree with that opinion, so I'm going to put this in S tier, because with the massive lunge buff, the massive precision damage, and it being insane with certain specialists, the Sledgehammer easily takes this top spot for me. But let me know down in the comments overall what you think about this tier list. I know it's all opinion based a lot of the times, because you only really know how good something is or bad when you actually use it yourself. So that's what I did. I hope you guys enjoyed this, the first time I've done a tier list, and let me know if I was trash at it, please, or I did pretty well this time. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to keep up with like my latest videos and stuff like that. I do stream every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday as well on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, so make sure to stop on by. I'll catch you guys in the next vid.